So this video is on Paul Revere, the picture by John Singleton Copley. It was painted in 1768. Now, most people know of Paul Revere as the person that did Paul Revere, who wrote and Roaring the Bridges Were Coming, probably from the poem The Midnight Ride of Paul Revere. But actually, of course, that's not all about him. There's also more things that he did besides that in the Revolution and just in his life. So his job was actually to be a silversmith, and around the time of the Revolution, tea was very popular because it was good and pretty healthy, and was better than water because better for you than water because back then they didn't get their water very purified, and you'd have to boil your water. I mean, if you wanted it to have pure water, you'd have to boil it, and tea has already been boiled. And so, many of the silversmiths' jobs were to make teapots like this one, and they would make it, and the teapot would be like your valuable possession in your house. It would be a symbol of how wealthy you are and things, and you would usually display it on a shelf or a mantle. So that people could see it. And if you had a big fancy one like this one, which has lots of little carvings and etchings and a fancy top and things, and it's all sorted out, it would mean you're wealthy. And also, the other thing that would show you're wealthy is how big it is. And so what people wanted to make their teapots look as big as possible. And so they would sit it on the shelf and have it sitting like, actually let me do it this way. They would sit it on a shelf right here. Let's say that's the shelf, maybe like that. I don't know, whatever. And then, that should be a bigger shelf. And then people would see it, and see it from the side and see how big it is. But if you're sitting it from a shelf like that, you don't see how big the teapot actually is. So what people would do is, if you looked at the top view, it would look more like that. That would be a big, long oval. Let me draw that again, because that's not a very good drawing. So it would be something like that. And that way, when you look at it from the side, there's the spout. So that way, when you look at it from the side, it looks like you don't see this top part here. You just see the side like you see in the picture here. But then, if you looked at it so it looks really big, but if you look at it from the top, it's like this. It's very narrow. There's the spout. And there's the handle. It's very, very narrow, so it looks longer and like it was really big. Now today, most of the teapots are just circular. But that's what they would do back then to make it look bigger, because that's your symbol of your wealth. And Paul Revere was a silversmith, and he had princesses and stuff. He actually had 16 children, and he was one of the main leaders in the Revolutionary War. So let's this picture. This is the picture Paul Revere by John Singleton Copley. It was painted in 1768. And it shows Paul Revere looking at his teapot, and actually it's a very similar teapot to the one we just looked at. Except this is not really how it would be. It would be like more like that, if you remember. So it's not super accurate in that part. But and he's doing one of the most important parts. He's looking at it, and he's about to etch in it fancy designs like we saw in the other one. But this picture was painted by a little bit before the time when Paul Revere did his Midnight Ride. He was still very involved in the Revolution and stuff, but and stuff. So John Singleton Copley knew this, but he didn't want to give away that he was doing it, but Paul Revere in danger. So there's no symbols or anything in here that would hint that he's part of the revolution. So John Singleton Copley would mainly make business pictures for like clergymen, merchants, and their wives, and usually he would make them stuff just a normal picture, but he took pride in his work just like Paul Revere and how it looked. And so in this one he showed Paul Revere making his stuff and things. So as you can see, he has over here the tools to use it. He has the teapot and things, but other than that, this is not a very accurate painting. If he was about to work on his teapot and just finished making it or something, he would probably not have a table that's perfectly gleaming and shining and stuff. It'd probably just be a little craft bench, probably real scratched up and stuff. But and then also, he wouldn't be wearing this night shirt and things. He would just be wearing his normal work clothes and stuff, and they'd be all dirty from making stuff. But this is all spotless and things. And also, there's no clutter and stuff that would be there if he was making things and stuff. There'd probably be a chisel here or something like that. And maybe hammers and anvils and all sorts of stuff that would be used to make silver. So really, the tools and the teapot are really just props to show Paul Revere's profession and stuff, and to show more of his personality. So John Singleton Copley used a lot of artistic techniques, of course, in his painting, and one of them was the table. So he made the base of the table right here. That's a very wavy line. Let me undo that. Okay. That's a bit of a crooked line, but it works. So you can see he makes the table the base of this, this pyramid. Let me show you it. Which goes something like, something like this. Keep moving the table. And it focuses on, and it makes you, and so you have Paul Revere's highlighted head up here, which is very bright and stuff. And then you have the table, which is the base of the pyramid, and it makes a pyramid. And it includes all of the major parts of the picture. The teapot, Paul Revere, his face and stuff, and makes you focus on his eyes and face. So let me erase these things. Alright, there. And so you can focus on his eye and stuff and his head. And it makes you, and this picture is focused on it that way. To show not to show that that he makes this really with his hand, but more with his eye, with his watchful eye and his head, and he knows how to make it very well. He's in a thinking gesture and stuff, and that's what the picture focuses on. It makes the portrait also has a very dark background. You can't see anything else in the background besides the tools, a teapot, and Paul Revere, and a table. This makes you focus on the presence of Paul Revere, and makes him seem like a very powerful artisan that has value, and whose work is of value. So Paul Revere's portrait, this one, stayed in his family until 1930, and this is when Henry Wadsworth Longfellow's poem, Paul Revere's Ride, brought the Patriot's story back into life. The family donated it to the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston, and that's where it is today. So that's a lot about this picture.